Indians did not quit. They fought back to make a game of it late. Today, Carlos Carrasco will try to slow down Chicago's power bats and get the Tribe win number 1 of 2011 next on Sports Time Ohio. Another chilly day here in downtown Cleveland as the Indians continue their opening series against the Chicago White Sox. Hi again, everyone. Matt Underwood alongside Rick Manning. You know, over the last 4 years, the Chicago White Sox have the lowest batting average in the month of April in Major League Baseball. But you would have known that by the way they swung the bats yesterday. And when it was 14-0 in favor of Chicago, it was looking really ugly. But the way the Indians battled back at least gave people some sense of, hey, this team's not going to roll over and die on us.
Well, and that's one thing they were looking for this spring. Will this team be able to score runs? Well, yesterday they did not quit. It's very easy to quit when you're down 14 runs. Santana had a big day. Jack Hanahan hit a home run. They hit a pair of home runs between the two of them. So, you know what, it's a good thing. They had pounded out 17 hits. Cabrera had a few in his own right. So it's nice that they never quit, and they're going to have to continue to keep going out there. But you can't fall behind 14-0.
And the real problem for Fausto Carmona yesterday is he didn't have a lot of movement on his fastball. It straightened out on him, and it was up in the strike zone. Obviously, those are things Carlos Carrasco has to avoid here today.
Well, something he did well in September last year. He came in, he mixed his changeup, his slider, along with his fastball. The only problem Carrasco's going to have to stay out of the middle of the plate. If he can get ahead of the hitters, he's got good enough stuff. Pitched a very good game against the White Sox here in September last year. September 1st, ended up getting a no decision because the bullpen gave up a 3-run homer. But Edwin Jackson, a tough customer on the Tribe in his career. He's been very, very good against them. So he's got a tough matchup going today.
All right, so the Indians try to even the slate here on the 2011 campaign as they battle the Chicago White Sox. Michael Brantley leading off and playing center field, had 2 knocks in the opener. We'll have the lineups in the first pitch coming up next. Well, it looks like a beautiful day for baseball, and hey, we'll take it. We've got blue skies and sunshine overhead, but
That's right.
It's a little chilly. Temperature really barely just above the 40-degree mark, and that breeze blowing in off the lake is really chilling things off down here at Progressive Field. But the Tribe and the White Sox getting ready for Game 2 as the Indians will look to bounce back from the opening day loss, 15-10 at the hands of the White Sox. Here's Ozzie Guillen starting 9 for Chicago today. Juan Pierre, Gordon Beckham, and Adam Dunn at the top. Paul Konerko, Alex Rios, Carlos Quentin in the middle. A.J. Pierzynski, Alexei Ramirez, and Brent Morrell. Why change anything? It's the same starting 9 that Guillen ran out there yesterday.
Carlos Carrasco making his first start this year. 7 starts last year, all coming in September, where he went 6 quality starts in a row in September. At least 6 innings in every start, so he did a nice job. Had a good start against the White Sox here in September. first of last year. It was a no decision because the bullpen gave it back. But this young man, they're looking for big things. He's very excited to be in the number 2 spot in the rotation, and we'll see how he does against the White Sox this afternoon. Let's take a look at the Home Depot doing more on defense. Indians' defensive lineup. In the outfield, Buck gets the start today in left. It's Brantley in center, Chu is in right, Hanahan back at third, as Dribble Cabrera at short, Orlando Cabrera at second, Matt Laporta at first, Carlos Santana behind the dish. More savings, more doing. That's the power of Home Depot.
Mike Everett will call the balls and strikes today. Mark Wegner at first, Chris Guccione at second, and Mike Winters down at third. So Carlos Carrasco making the start here today for the Tribe. And his challenge will be to try to slow down what was a very potent White Sox attack yesterday. And it started with Juan Pierre and Gordon Beckham getting on base at the top of the order, and then the big boys were able to drive them home.
Where the White Sox did their damage is with 2 strikes. Against Carmona yesterday, they were 7 for 13 when they had 2 strikes on them. Now, regardless whether Carmona was upstairs or in or out, they did a nice job of battling and fouling off some tough pitches, because that's not easy to do against Carmona. They did a good job yesterday.
Carrasco with the 0-1 pitch to Juan Pierre, and that's slugged to right field. Back is Chu, and he'll make the grab, 1 away. Tim Belcher, the Indians pitching coach, loves to preach the firsts. First strike, first out, and then of course you'd like to get the first run, so you're working with the lead. But there is an example of Carrasco executing. Got the first strike, and now he's got the first out. Fausto Carmona was able to get ahead yesterday, but as you pointed out, Rick, couldn't put him away. And I don't know that that was a case where maybe he was so amped up that his sinker didn't have the kind of movement on it that he's used to. But he said, I didn't have the movement. My ball was up in the strike zone, and they made him pay for it.
Well, we noticed in spring training one game he was up in the strike zone. Everything was very hard, and he got hit, gave up a couple of home runs like he did yesterday, and came back in his next start and was able to settle in, and that's all you're looking for.
I would have been much more concerned as an Indians fan yesterday had he walked a bunch of people and was all over the place.
Yeah, he was throwing strikes. I have no problem with that.
Carlos Carrasco coming out throwing strikes, 4 out of his first 5 in the zone. And Gordon Beckham down on the count, 1-2. Carlos delivers. And that's bloop towards center. Coming hard, Brantley won't get to it. And so Gordon Beckham, what a start to the year, 4 for 5.
Yeah, a good young player. Got off to a rough start last year, but certainly not the first 2 games here. Not a bad pitch, a breaking ball down. He hit it off the end of the bat. He bloops it in, gets it in front of Brantley in center field, but you put the ball in play, you make contact, good things will happen. He gets the first hit of the afternoon.
Here is Adam Dunn. Big bat in the middle of the lineup. He did a lot of damage yesterday. A double and a homer, drove in 4.
Yeah, and that's where he did the damage last year in Washington. 36 doubles, 38 homers last year. So just a guy, a potent bat, and he's steady. You know, didn't know if he would like to DH, wanted to stay in the National League, but the bottom line came to he wanted to be on a team that had a chance to win, and he felt the White Sox was that team. And
Carrasco nibbling a little bit here, trying to be very careful. It's 3-0.
You know, a lot of people picked the White Sox to win this division this year. Between them, the Tigers, the Minnesota Twins.
3-0 in for a strike. Seem to remember, Rick, in the past, whenever the Indians would play the Reds when Dunn was in Cincinnati, Dunn was susceptible to fastballs above the belt and then the soft stuff away. He sounded like he broke his bat. Drops it into right field. Beckham with a great jump will go all the way to third. And once again, the White Sox threatening right out of the gate here.
Well, you can take your chances when you get ahead in the count as a hitter. He hit that ball off the end of the bat. It was an 89-mile-an-hour pitch. I'm not sure. That's not a good fastball there. I don't know if he took something off, but he goes down and gets it off the end of the bat, hits it into right field. So back-to-back singles. They have runners at the corners, and it'll also give the Sox an opportunity to score in the first again. He scored 2 yesterday in the first inning.
And Paul Konerko thrives in these situations. RBI machine. Not to mention, he's done a lot of damage against the Indians in his career.
Yes, he has. It's one of his favorite teams to face, you would think.
He's hit 11 more homers than any other player against Cleveland since 2003. That's over the last 8 years.
Well, he gets
33.
his opportunity 18 games a year, going against the Tribe. This is the one guy where last year.
There's a drive to left. Travis Buck will make the catch. Tagging and coming home to score is Gordon Beckham. And Paul Konerko, with his second RBI of the series, gives Chicago a 1-0 lead here in the first. So that'll bring up Alex Rios, the center fielder, who yesterday was one of the few White Sox that did not join the party. He was 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts.
Well, yeah, now you watch out for him today. He's the guy that was hitting third last year. And last year, what I wanted to say when Konerko was there, he was the guy you pitched around. Or, you didn't have to go ahead and throw him strikes. You let whoever behind him was try to beat you. Well, it's a little different this year when you add Dunn to that lineup. Gives them some left-handed pop that they did not have last year.
2 down, runner at first. The 0-1 pitch. Rios leans out of the way, and it's 1-1.
They made some very good pitches to Alex yesterday. Maybe he didn't feel they were good pitches. The umpire did, but at one point they threw him out of 10 pitches. He saw the first 10. 7 of them were strikes.
There's a long drive deep to left field. Back is Buck at the base of the wall, and he makes the catch. So a loud out ends the first, but Chicago gets on the board early. 1-0 Indians coming to bat.
but has pitched very well against the Indians in his career. 7-1 and a 2.67 ERA.
Michael Brantley was 2 for 5 yesterday. Jumped out of the way, and it's called a strike. And it's 0-2.
That's something I would like to see Michael do a little more this year, is bunting. You know, bringing in the guys at the corner in that leadoff spot.
In the dirt. Last year, Edwin Jackson became the first pitcher to throw a no-hitter and then be traded in the same season since 1951, when Cliff Chambers had that happen to him.
Well, that was not a typical no-hitter when he had 8 walks.
Yeah, that was
149 pitches. You know, most guys wouldn't even, they wouldn't have left him around.
Brantley strikes out, 1 away.
Let's check out the White Sox defense this afternoon. Pierre, Rios, and Quinton in the outfield left to right. Morel, Ramirez, Beckham, Konerko on the infield third to first. A.J. Brzezinski behind the plate as always.
Asdrubal Cabrera coming off a very fine opening day performance. He was 3 for 5 with a double yesterday. Two balls and no strikes, and as you mentioned, Rick, even in his no-hitter, he will walk some people.
Well, yeah, you want to be patient enough. If he can get to that slider and gets ahead of you like he did to Michael Brantley, that slider is his go-to pitch or his strikeout pitch. It seems like it goes straight down into the zone. You know, it's not a typical slider that slides and goes down a little. It's almost like a curveball, but it's a vicious slider.
With a 2-1. Missed down and in with it. 3 balls and a strike.
Started the game last year against the Indians, August 31st, where he had 11 punch-outs against the Tribe.
The 3-1. And a chopper hit towards second. Big hop there for Beckham. And we have 2 down here in the first.
You know, we'll get a look at his slider. This is the one to Michael Brantley where he struck him out. So that ball goes straight down, and it stayed right on that same plane. It didn't move in off the plate. It's almost like it goes straight down. And that could be a very effective pitch to the left-handers. It's a tough pitch to lay off of, but if he's in there, you know, when you get to 2 strikes, you almost have to swing at it.
Shin-Soo Choo, 1 for 5 yesterday. Takes a strike. Jackson, with those 8 walks in his no-hitter, were the 3rd most allowed in a no-hit game. One of the other notable no-hit pitchers to do that was one of your contemporaries, Nolan Ryan, who walked 8 in a no-hitter against the Minnesota Twins back in 1974. A 1-1 pitch. In for a strike. And now Choo behind in the count. The right-hander fires, and it was very close, but he missed the mark, and the count evens up at 2-2 for Choo. If he gets aboard, that man Carlos Santana is next. Full count. Edwin Jackson, at 27 years old, was 10-12 last year, and really throughout his career he has been a Jekyll and Hyde pitcher. When he's on, he's one of the best in the game, but then there are times where he's not even mediocre. Payoff pitch, little bit high, and it's ball 4. And a 2-out walk will allow Carlos Santana to bat here in the first.
And that's what makes Shin-Soo Choo a special hitter, because he was down in the count 1-2. And, you know, those borderline pitches, he's able to lay off and make that pitcher work. He doesn't give in. He doesn't swing and miss, so a 2-out walk will bring Santana to the plate. something he did very well last year, even when the team wasn't scoring and team was pitching around him. He didn't expand his strike zone. He stayed right there.
Yesterday, it took a while for the Indians' offense to gain traction. They were 2 for their first 16 offensively to start the game. They finished 15 for their last 27. So once they figured it out, they really swung the bats well. But they were already down by 14 runs as well.
Well, like I said before, sometimes it's easy to give in when you're down that many and just go up and swing the bat. They didn't do that. But, the weather wasn't conducive for offense. When you had 35 hits in the ballgame, the White Sox had 18, the Indians had 17. To see 25 runs scored, that's the most runs scored since, 83 in baseball on opening day. It was a tough day, but offensively, it didn't seem to bother either team.
Santana looks at another strike, and it's quickly 0-2. Just goes to show you, Rick, that regardless of the weather conditions, you make bad pitches, big league hitters are going to mash them.
Well, I'll tell you what, that ball that Rios hit in the first inning, I thought he hit it out of here, and that wind pushed it down, so it may be a good day to pitch, at least with balls going to left field.
Yeah, there seems to be a pretty good breeze blowing over and around the scoreboard in left field. And that's the breeze that's keeping it very chilly here in downtown Cleveland. Santana awaiting the 0-2 pitch. Chu has a pretty good lead. Let's see if he takes off.
Why not? Go ahead and protect him.
That's up and in.
Okay, a good 0-2 pitch. But Chu's in a situation now where you can go ahead and protect Santana. Try and get into scoring position if you can. After that high fastball up and in, Matt, you think maybe here comes that slider. That would be the pitch to run on. And if you can get a decent jump, you can steal a base off Brzezinski.
Jackson deals. Chu was not running, and it's fouled down the left side. Just does find the seats. Ball jumped right in the guy's lap.
So it's supposed to do it.
Everybody else is reaching, grabbing, trying to find it. Hey, what do you know?
Meant to be.
This will be the 20th pitch of the first inning for Edwin Jackson. 9 balls, 10 strikes thus far. And it's up high to even the count of 2-2. I mentioned earlier about Jackson being a bit of a Jekyll and Hyde. This number to me is astounding. Last year, when he went 7 innings, he was 8-2 with a 2.65 ERA. When he went less than 7, which happens a lot for major league pitchers, he was 2-10 and an ERA of over 7.
Well, get him early. I mean, it's not like he had a bad bullpen over there.
Chu with a pretty good lead at first. Konerko holding him. He draws a quick throw, and that ball almost got away. I think it actually hit Chu. Konerko, I don't think ever got leather on it. That's why.
Yeah, the funny thing of it, that throw to first base, Santana was even out of the batter's box. He didn't. Hit him right on the backside.
The 2-2, runner holds, and a tapper slowly hit toward second.
Beckham didn't even go after the ball.
And he nails him. So the inning is over, and after 1, it's the White Sox 1 and the Indians nothing. off to a blazing start. 4 for 5 with 2 doubles and a homer to start the year.
Yeah, he is locked in, isn't he? He likes the ball. He's got good plate coverage. When this guy is using the whole field, and look at that, a fastball away. He didn't try to pull it. He stays on it and uses right center field. He's going to be an excellent hitter. He gets himself in trouble when you try to pull the ball like many hitters do. But locked in right now, off to a terrific start, so a leadoff double.
Now A.J. Pierzynski, who was 2 for 5 yesterday and also drove in a run for Chicago.
They had 6 doubles as a team yesterday, so that's their 7th already.
Actually, Pierzynski, I have him driving in 2 runs yesterday.
Yeah, he had a couple knocks.
But it was that last one that was a big one for Chicago because the Indians had closed the gap on him, and his last RBI hit gave him their 15th run.
And he was the guy that stayed in the game. You know, where Ozzie chose to take some players out, it was Pierzynski stayed in the game, made his 11th straight opening day start yesterday, his 7th with the White Sox.
And another base hit in the right field. Coming around third is Quinton. He's going to be held there as Chu got to it quickly. And the White Sox picking right up where they started yesterday's game with the hit machine. That's already 4 knocks.
Well, in this situation, he's going to try to pull the ball. And that was a pitch that he left upstairs. It was easy for him to go over there and turn on it. You can see him get it past Orlando Cabrera. Hit it too hard to score Quinton. So they'll have runners at the corners with nobody out.
And now Alexei Ramirez, who was 1 for 5 with a double in the opener. He's got a chance to add to the White Sox lead.
Here's one guy that you want to look in that batter's box. That front foot is in front of home plate. It's out near the front line of the batter's box. Most all hitters hit the backside of that batter's box. Here's one guy that does not. I mean, that's how quick he is. He loves that ball. He's very quick. He's a good low ball hitter, but that front foot's up at the front line. You'll rarely see people up that far.
Blooped, and that's going to drop for a hit, and the White Sox are going to add to their lead. Pierzynski hits second. He'll hold there as Quinton comes home to score 2-0 Chicago. 3 straight hits to open the second inning. A little broken bat blooper that drops in for Ramirez.
Well, yeah, he gets jammed on that ball. There's a fastball going in. Doesn't get much of it, gets enough of it. Bloops it in. Pierzynski had a good read on it all the way. No problem for him to get to second base. So back come the Sox, already with 5 hits this afternoon out of the first 8 hitters.
Brent Morel, he was 2 for 5 yesterday. Bunts it hard back to the mound. Carrasco goes to third. They get the force there, as Pierzynski is retired for out number 1 on the force out.
An easy play for Carrasco. He lays this bunt down right out in front. Hanahan can go back to third base. A nice, quick, easy throw. So they do get the first out on the fielder's choice 1-5.
Juan Pierre fly to right his first time up. And he goes to right field again, this time for a base hit. Chu comes up, getting ready to fire it home, and Ramirez got the stop sign at third. So the bases are now loaded with 1 out here in the second inning. And Carlos Carrasco better make some adjustments in a hurry, because the White Sox are really teeing off on him.
Well, let's look at the location. There you go. And when you see balls down the middle and they're not hesitating, it's a fastball. Location not very good. That's what happens. The hitters will let you know you better get the ball down in the zone. You better change some speeds. You better start working it, because they are teeing off now on Carrasco. In his last 7 pitches, they have 4 hits. So they are getting aggressive early.
Now Gordon Beckham.
And here's a guy that's been locked in, so they better think about a changeup or something. Breaking ball off speed early in the count to get ahead.
Beckham already 4 hits in the series. Bases loaded, 1 out.
Tried the slider and missed.
That breaking ball almost nailed Beckham.
See, that's what Carlos is going to need to have if he's going to be effective is his secondary pitches. Now, I don't know if it's cool out there and he's having a tough time. Usually the breaking ball, the slider is the toughest to throw in this kind of weather. But you've got to trust yourself with changeups as well. You can't continue to go out there and throw the fastball by hitters like that, especially in 2-0 counts.
Two and 1 to count with the bags filled with White Sox and only 1 down. Here in the second, Chicago up 2-0. Threw it by him again with a good fastball, 2-2. Alexei Ramirez at third, Brent Morel at second, Juan Pierre with good wheels at first. Carrasco with a 2-2. Fouled back out of play. I mentioned the open of our telecast, the White Sox over the last 4 years had the lowest team batting average in the month of April in Major League Baseball. But the way they are swinging it here in the opening 2 games, they've put all that behind them. From 2007 through 2010, they hit .236 in the month of April as a team.
Well, we played them early, and we've been opening against this team early in the year, and we've had firsthand look at it. And they did struggle in April. They looked like a dead team because they were all or nothing, in the last couple of Aprils. Took them a while to get going, but they started the first 2 games of this season, and they struggled in the spring. They lose 20 games in spring training, although we know that doesn't count. But Ozzie left there with his ball club and said, I feel very good about this ball club. We've got what we're looking for. And, he trusts his guys, and they enjoy playing with him. They were playing for him.
They were very concerned about Adam Dunn in spring training. He struck out a ton during spring training.
He took that away out of the get-go, didn't he?
Sure did. Put those fears to rest. Payoff pitch. In the air, right field. Well hit. Chu is back. He's out of room, and it hits off the fence above him. And that's going to get at least 1 home. Ramirez scores. Here comes Morel. Pierre stops at third.
Well, Beckham stopped at first. He had it done. He kept his eye going. He should be standing on second base, although he drives in a pair.
A long 2-run single.
Yes, indeed. These guys, that we've seen it happen the last couple of days. He's again 2 for 2.
Fastball up.
The wind's going to blow that away from Chu, what happened here. When we said it knocked Rios' ball down in left field, it pushed it away from Chu there. He wasn't going to be able to catch it. He's looking all over the place. He's looking at third. You don't look at third. You look at the guy in front of you. He should be standing on second base. So now, you still have an opportunity for a double play ball. But I'll tell you what, they're not hitting many ground balls. They're hitting shots.
And it's already 4-0. As Adam Dunn steps to the plate. Dunn with a base hit in the first inning. And that's clubbed to first. Laporta has trouble with it. Steps on the bag, gets the out there, but does not get a second out. Another run comes home, 5-0 Chicago. If he comes up with that cleanly, they've got to play
it home. It's a double
play
ball.
Or at second, yeah, that's true.
It's a double play ball if he fields it cleanly. And that's why I said, that's why Beckham made a mistake. He's not getting to second base. It's a double play ball. But he steps on the base. You're not going to get Pierre at home, I wouldn't think. But it could have been a double play ball easily. Once he stepped on first, Pierre would have scored anyway. So, moot point. It's another run home.
Paul Konerko, the 8th man to bat in the inning, drove in a run in the first with a sac fly. Paul Konerko, with that RBI in the first, has now driven in 110 runs against the Indians in the last 8 years. And that's more than 30 better than anybody else over that same time frame. Justin Morneau's driven in 78 against the Tribe over that same time.
You know what, Matt? We're looking at it. It's a tale of two different games. Yesterday, they were very patient with Carmona. They went to 5 pitches or more. It seemed like most of the time, right? Well, today, I'm sorry, man. It's 2 pitches or less. Out of the 12 batters, 8 batters, 2 pitches or less. So they're getting after Carrasco early. Where Carmona, they had 5 pitches or more. They were patient and fouled off pitches.
Yeah, I don't know that so much that they were patient, but they were fighting him off and keeping the bat alive. The 1-2. Because he was throwing a lot of strikes early in counts yesterday. But they just fought him off. And that's because, as we talked about, his ball was up. Didn't have as much bite to that sinker yesterday as you normally would see. Carrasco, meanwhile, he's just made too many fat pitches in the middle of the plate. Konerko with Gordon Beckham at second base and 2 down. Full count. Now the payoff pitch. And it's high, ball 4. So the White Sox have batted around here in the second inning. STOHD.com is your web source for Ohio sports. Tomorrow on STOHD.com, check out Paul Cousineau's Lazy Sunday column as he provides his insights into the Indians' opening weekend. Log on to STOHD.com and learn more. Rios flied to deep left his first time up. And we both thought he had hit a home run off the swing of the bat, but the wind might have knocked it down. That's crushed. Oh, what a living grab by Jack Hanahan at third. Diving to his left, he takes a hit and at least an RBI away from Alex Rios. White Sox bat around. They score 4, lead it 5-0. All right, the Indians down 5-0. Come to bat here in the bottom of the second inning. Travis Hafner, Orlando Cabrera, and Travis Buck. And a strike over the outside corner. Hafner 2 for 5 yesterday. Hafner with a high drive. Deep right field. Back is Quinton looking up, and it is gone to Souvenir City. Travis Hafner gets the Indians on the board with his first home run of the year.
That was like an Adam Dunn shot yesterday, boy. He got a good swing on that ball, and it was high, and it had the carry. As Quinton is in right field, he just watched it sail into their bullpen, so the Indians are back on the board. Very good swing. See, he's been pitching the left-handers in with his fastball. Travis pulls the hands through. Great swing.
Home run replay brought to you by Great Clips, donating $50 to the Gathering Place. And there's a base hit up the middle by Orlando Cabrera.
Something they were able to do yesterday, boy. They got sick of watching the White Sox round the bases. They said, hey, we're going to keep you outside in that cold weather for a little while. Cabrera comes right back, base hit up the middle. So back-to-back hits for the Indians.
And now Travis Buck gets his first at-bat as an Indian. Jackson delivers, and it catches the outside corner. Buck made the most of his opportunity this spring, making the opening day roster as an extra outfielder who can play all 3 outfield spots. And he also, they feel, is athletic enough to play first base. He played there a little bit this spring. They worked him out there, but you know, it's more of a case where in a pinch, it's a late inning replacement situation, a double switch where you've got to, you know, throw a guy in there. He can certainly help out.
It's almost like the emergency catcher.
Yeah.
You know, but because Santana will end up playing first base, I'm sure, when Laporta gets days off or he wants to keep the bat in the lineup.
Outside, 2 balls and a strike. Buck hit .393 in 20 games this spring. That certainly helped his case to make the club.
Again, it's health with this guy. I mean, he's been hurt the last, 3-4 years that he's had opportunities after his rookie year in Oakland. But, you know, you take opportunities, you take advantage of the situations given. And he was given one this spring and took advantage of it, and he's going to get a chance to get some at-bats.
2-1 pitch. Hit on the ground to third. Backhanded, then dropped by Morel. Long throw to first, over everybody, and into the photo well. And that's going to send Orlando Cabrera all the way to third, and Buck down to second.
That'll probably be a base hit and an error because that was a squibber. You know what I mean? That was tough. Morel had to go back at third. 2 errors.
They gave an error.
Okay, so it's a double error.
Yeah, the double.
Okay, let's see. There's one there. Yeah, okay. He had the ball. It fell out of his glove. He picked it back up, so it was an error on missing the ball, an error on the throw at first base. So he will get a double error. And now the Indians now take advantage of the situation.
The double whammy. And an opportunity for the Tribe to climb right back into the game. Matt Laporta steps in, 2 for 5 yesterday. Lays off the pitch low and away. Jackson ready, the 1-0. And he had him in between on the swing. Looked like he started, wanted to stop, couldn't do it. 1-1 the count.
You know, that's where the discipline's going to have to show for Matt Laporta. When you get the 1-0 count, you look for your one pitch you want, which is going to be the fastball. You don't get it, you take it away. But I will say that Edwin Jackson has some very good rotation on his slider.
That's up high, 2-1.
I think what Matt's going to have to learn here is they're going to show him a lot of fastballs, that aren't strikes, that are upstairs to try and get himself out to pop it up, or inside and attack him during the course of the year with their off-speed pitches, their sliders, their changeups, and force him to hit secondary pitches for strikes.
It's almost like you go up looking for off-speed pitches.
And, as a hitter, and it's easier for a veteran hitter, but there's nothing wrong for looking off-speed pitches as a hitter. But, most hitters are geared for the fastball, and that's it. They won't change their approach.
In the dirt, blocked by Przinsky nicely. The count now 3-1.
Now, you see, here's where Laporta right now should sit on one pitch only, make it a fastball, and if you don't get it, you take everything. There's an off-speed pitch. He's able to be patient enough to take it. The same discipline goes in here. You shrink your strike zone for that pitcher, and if he throws the strikes, who cares? It's now 3-2, and you still got another one to go.
Nobody out. Runners second and third for the Indians, and a 3-1 pitch for Laporta. It's up high. No, a called strike. Borderline. Full count.
Yesterday it was a ball. But, it's at the top of the strike zone. It's all right. It's not what he was looking for. Not in his zone. You go ahead and take it. It's 3-2. Now you refocus and you look to put the ball in play. You've got that guy. A ground ball anywhere will get him home.
And the payoff pitch struck him out. Second strikeout for Jackson, one down here in the second inning. Take a look at our great clip of the game, brought to you by Great Clips. Jack Hanahan off left-hander Will Oman sent that ball to the seats for his first home run as an Indian, part of a 3-hit performance for Hanahan. Relax, you're at Great Clips. Now they just need a base hit from Hanahan here to put 2 more on the board, cut the gap on the White Sox 5-1 lead.
That was a pretty free at bat for Laporta. Had the count in his favor a couple of times. You wanted to see at least get one home there. So now it's going to take a 2-out base knock or an error.
Fouled back. And now Hanahan finds himself in an 0-2 hole. Hanahan, a Minneapolis, St. Paul native. So this cold weather shouldn't bother him too much. Two-strike pitch. And a liner over the head of the third baseman, Morel. Down the left field line. 2 runs are going to score. Hanahan wide turn will hold with a big 2-run single. And Jack Hanahan continues to sizzle as a Cleveland Indian. It's now a 5-3 ball game.
Well, there you have it, an 0-2 count. He was buried in the count, and he was able to just get something that enough where he changed his approach and went the other way. It's going to be our McDonald's. I'm loving it. And anytime you're down in the count 0-2, you can get a 2-out base hit and drive in a pair. I'm loving that. It makes it a 5-3 ball game. So Hanahan off to a good start. He's got 3 ribbies this year. He's got 4 hits, so he's off to a very good start. Good hitting right there.
Michael Brantley struck out his first time up. Off the glove of Przinsky, and that's going to enable Hanahan to go down to second base.
Pass ball, I'm sure. That was right into the glove of Przinsky. Just, I don't know if it hit the heel or whatever. He goes upstairs and just right off the thumb. Deflected in there, pass ball.
You think about catchers are so used to catching the ball in front of their face. Sometimes when that ball goes above their head,
they lose sight of it.
Yeah, it all of a sudden it's something they're just not used to. It seems like such a simple thing to do. You play catch how many times in your life?
Well, it
all
is,
of a sudden
but you got to see that
ball,
mask sometimes will deflect or block a pitch out of the way. And when you're right, when you're expecting it down and then all of a sudden it changes your eye level and you got to go up there, it's not as easy as it looks.
Brantley awaiting the 2-0, and it's up high, 3 balls and no strikes. So Edwin Jackson staked to a 5-0 lead. Struggling here in the second inning now.
Well, I like what the Indians offense has done in the first 2 games here. 5 for 9 with 2 outs, runners in scoring position. Gotta love that. Toughest hit to get in baseball.
He was over 20 pitches in the first inning. He's now over 20 pitches here in the second. This right here will be his 21st of the inning. And the 3-1. Just a bit wide, ball 4. So Jackson issues his second walk of the game. And with 2 on and 1 out, Asdrubal Cabrera will be the batter. And that's going to bring out pitching coach Don Cooper of the White Sox. Let's head down and join Katie Witham for the first time today.
Hey, Matt, Rick, I'm over here hanging out down the first base side, and I think I've got one of the best seats. I know there's not a bad seat, though, here at Progressive Field, and we want to make sure you have your seat for Friday games. The Indians put on a spectacular firework presentation after every Friday night game, select Saturday games. Check out theindians.com for more information. Guys.
All right, thanks, Katie. I'm impressed Katie didn't reach over and snatch some of the cotton candy from that kid sitting next to her.
She's doing it. Yeah. She knows when she's off camera. She sees that light go out. She's going to go after it.
Had to be tempting. 2 on, 1 out. Asdrubal Cabrera will be the batter as the Indians continue to try to claw their way back in. They're down just 5-3 now. Cabrera with a ground out to second base in his first at bat. And he looks at a first pitch strike from Edwin Jackson. Asdrubal with a liner towards center. Rios reaches down and makes a knee-high catch for out number 2.
Hit the ball well.
Hit it right at him, and Rios, all he had to do was reach down and snag it. And we'll bring up Shin-Soo Choo, who walked in his first at bat. Jackson fires a first pitch strike, although Choo might not be in total agreement. Chased it, gets away from Przinsky, but Hanahan apparently didn't have a good read on it. And he ends up staying right at second base.
It's almost it sounded like he tipped it from up here, but you know what? It hit the dirt. That was the tipping, and it goes off the glove. And usually from second base, you can get an easier read on that ball in the dirt because you're looking straight on than you can from first or third. But Hanahan didn't feel like he could get a good enough jump, so stays put.
And the 2-strike pitch missed in off the plate. Well, Edwin Jackson worked himself into a jam here in the inning, trying to get himself out of it after allowing 3 runs already. But getting Cabrera was a big second out. Now he's got Choo down on the count 1-2.
Yes,
he
he
struck
did.
him out to end the inning. But the Indians claw back. They get 3 on the board, and after 2, it's now Chicago 5, Cleveland 3. Pronk hitting the Indians on the board. taste greatness moment. Well, let's see if Carlos Carrasco found something while he was in the dugout watching his offense take aim against Edwin Jackson, because the White Sox really battered him around in that second inning when they sent 9 men to the plate, and only a terrific defensive play by Jack Hanahan got him out of the inning to end it.
I'll tell you what, I like what the offense did. They came right back and put 3 on the board. So, yeah, let's go. Now it's time you got to find it.
Carlos Quentin doubled to center field to start that second inning. And he starts him off with a good slider for strike 1. Big chopper to third. Hanahan head high grab there. Pulled Laporta off, but he applies the tag for out number 1. All right, time to sharpen the mind a little bit here with today's trivia question. Who holds the Indians' record for most career opening day home runs? Yesterday it was the Major League record, which we found out afterwards Adam Dunn is now just one off that Major League record for opening day homers. Indians' record, though. A.J. Pierzynski with a base hit his first time up, takes a strike. The 0-1. Low and away. You know, for fans who are watching and maybe wondering how a pitcher as young as Carlos Carrasco got the number 2 spot in the starting rotation. Well, if you didn't hear, Tim Belcher told us that basically it was an effort to break up the sinker ball pitchers, Fausto Carmona and Justin Masterson, because they have such a similar look that you'd like to break them up when you're facing a team. You don't want to have back-to-back sinker ballers go, so they inserted Carrasco into that 2 spot. And Tim made it clear. He said, he probably hasn't earned the right to be a number 2 starter.
Well,
and even Carlos himself was surprised to get the nod.
No, I understand their
spot.
thinking, though. You don't want to throw 2 of your power sinker ballers back to back and let the hitters get a look at them.
Laporta tags the bag. 2 quick outs here in the third. And let's be clear that the Indians coaches, I mean, Tim Belcher, Scott Radinsky, the guys who watch the pitchers closer than anybody, they really feel like Carlos Carrasco has good stuff and has the potential to be, that guy who is a legitimate number 2 starter. But for right now, well, he's going to be tested, no doubt about it. Now the 1-0 pitch in there for a strike. And they also, coaches, managers all say the same thing, too. After the first couple of days, who cares? Does it really matter? Because,
Well, it's just how other rotations are set up. You're going to go against the second guys in that rotation,
it
which
sure
does make
seem
a
like
difference.
that definitely happens.
Because you're going to be matched up better. I mean, if you can settle into the number 4 or 5 rotation, you're going to be matched up against guys that aren't as quality as their first 2 starters. So when you run into a team, let's say like Boston or somebody that has a great pitching rotation, you'll see the difference.
In the air center field, Michael Brantley has a routine play.
He needed this inning.
Great job by Carlos Carrasco to come back with a 1-2-3 third. It remains 5-3 Chicago. 5-3 Chicago. Carlos Carrasco with a nice job to get through that inning quickly and get his offense right back up the bat. And you said so many times, man, when you make a comeback, you want to get right back in there and keep hitting.
Have a nice quick inning, get your offense back in there, and he did his job. So he settled down nicely, put a 0 on the board, and come on back offense.
Santana looks at a ball down low. Checked the swing, but he went too far. And now Carlos down on the count 1-2. Bounced it in. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And all of a sudden, 52 pitches into the game is Edwin Jackson.
See, that's how you get a guy like that out of the game. You gave the number or the stat where he goes 7 innings. Well, when you make him work hard in the early part of the ball game, it's rare, especially at this time of the year, that you're going to go 7 innings when your pitch count is already at 53. It will reach 60 before the 3 innings are over.
Carlos Santana on that previous swing, Rick, a little bailout, just an emergency swing. He sent the 2 bat boys scattering. One went left, one went right, and the ball went right between them. Missed inside, and the count goes full. They're both breathing a sigh of relief over there.
I'll tell you what, you better be heads up. That's why they make those kids wear helmets.
Yeah,
that ball gets over there in a hurry.
Now the payoff pitch. Boy, just missed. Ball 4. Santana with a leadoff walk. 3rd free pass issued by Jackson, 1 in each inning. Let's go back to the studios for our first in-game update. Here's Al Pulowski.
All right, Matt, Rick, let's go to Toronto Twins. The Blue Jays, bottom of the 3rd inning. Jose Molina, his first homer of the year, off the left field wall and over. Minnesota just scored a run in the top of the 4th inning. It's tied at 1. Twins, though, don't have a hit yet off of Kyle Drabik. Back to you, Matt.
All right, thanks, Al. Here is Travis Hafner, who homered to right field his first time up. And takes a first pitch strike from Edwin Jackson. Hafner 3 for 6 to start the campaign. Santana, the leadoff man at first, held by Konerko. Broke his bat. High fly ball right field. Quentin back on the warning track, makes the catch. Boy, if his bat doesn't explode, that's gone.
I'll tell you what.
That is a weird deal.
That
like
sounded.
The bat, it's looked like it split right in half, right down the middle.
It did. I mean, that sounded. It didn't look like he hit it at a poor part of the bat, and it went almost to the warning track. Let's look at where this hit. That hit in the barrel. That bat just exploded.
Wow.
I'll tell you what, that's strange as a hitter, and I'm sure that was the same bat he used the last at bat.
Didn't sound very good, did it?
It sounded like a tin. That was terrible at bat. It just exploded, and it looked like he hit it at a good part of the bat. You know what? That'd be a good question to go ask him after the game. What'd you think about that bat if it just exploded like that? Or where'd you hit it on the bat?
I can tell you what he thinks of it right now.
But, I mean, you just hit a home run, a towering home run in your last at-bat, so you know it was the same one.
2 balls, no strikes to Orlando Cabrera. Almost sounded like that bat was made out of ceramic, the way it sounded when it. Now the 2-0. Up and in again. 3 balls, no strikes. He's missed the same spot all 3 times to Orlando Cabrera here. As it has been a struggle for Edwin Jackson now. 60 pitches already here in the game. We're in the 3rd inning, 1 on, 1 out. But he's got a 5-3 lead at this point. And he walked him on 4 straight. So 2 walks in the inning.
Yeah, all right, you got to take advantage of these 2 walks, a couple errors in the ball game.
Let's go down to the farm and check out our minor league report. Lonnie Chisenhall, boy, what a season he had, or what a spring, I should say, he had, batting an even .500. We saw him when the Indians played the 3 innings, the snow-shortened game against the Clippers at Huntington Park down in Columbus, and Chisenhall smacked a double to deep center field in that game. He's going to be fun to watch for folks down in Columbus. They've also got a pretty good starting rotation, do the Clippers. Here's Travis Buck. Looks at a strike. Buck reached on an error his first time up. He sent a ground ball to third, kind of a squibbed bouncer that Morel, the third baseman, dropped, and then he threw it into the photo bay over the head of first baseman Paul Konerko. So it turned out to be a double error. 0-2 the count. There is Morel, who won the starting spot at third base this spring. In the dirt, Przinsky with a good smother job. He's been busy back there today.
Well, you have to be when he throws that slider in the dirt, and I think he knows when he calls for it. That's why both those runners, they see that ball go in the dirt. You see them take off 3 or 4 steps, which you like to see. Something a lot of teams should practice more early in the year when they see that ball go in the dirt. A lot of guys will just say in spring training, take off. Let's see how you can do, if you make it or not, because they don't care if you get thrown out. And you'd be surprised how many times you can make to the next base when that ball goes in the dirt like that against a catcher. It's anticipation.
And the 1-2. Swung on and missed. Jackson with a big strikeout. That's already his 4th. And with 2 on and 2 out here in inning number 3, it'll bring up Matt Laporta.
Yeah, he can strike you out, but now today you can see he can also walk you. There's the good slider. Goes straight down. Travis Buck swings over the top. He's victim number 4. So it's going to take a 2-out base hit here.
Well, you're seeing a perfect illustration of why I said he can be a Jekyll and Hyde pitcher.
Mm-hmm.
He's showing it to you in the same game here today. Low, Laporta lays off. Ball 1. Laporta worked the count in his favor his first time up, but Jackson came back to strike him out on a 3-2 pitch. There's a high fly ball. Left field, Juan Pierre makes the catch. So the 2 walks don't hurt Jackson. And after 3, it's 5-3 Chicago. Fourth inning here in Cleveland. And it's a 5-3 Chicago lead. Brent Morrell, the number 9 hitter, will lead off for the White Sox. Then we go to the top of the order, Juan Pierre and Gordon Beckham. Carlos Carrasco, through the first 3 innings, has made a total of 50 pitches. 32 have been for strikes. And hoping to build off that 1-2-3 third inning. Misses outside for ball 1.
Well, that's the thing young pitchers have to battle and find their way through before you become successful. You know, if teams are going to get you early, they do get you early before you settle into your rhythm. The key is to find it and then find your way to work your way through and give your manager 5, 6, 7 innings when you do struggle early.
Chopper to short as Drupal Cabrera flips it over, 1 away.
All fans will receive a Shin-Soo Choo jersey. That'll be May 21st. The Tribe will take on the Cincinnati Reds. That's right. Interleague play will start. Stop by any Indians team shop or visit Indians.com for the ticket info. Or you can call 216-420-HITS. But the Shin-Soo Choo jersey will be a nice item for you to have. And also those blankets will pay dividends early.
They will. Juan Pierre singled and scored in the second inning. Tried to drag bunt, but it goes foul. Pierre now 2 for 5 in the series.
Pierre reminds me of a guy, a leadoff hitter that used to be with the Yankees and the Rangers and the Angels that were walking around, Mickey Rivers. You know, walks around like he...
Everything hurts.
You can't, his feet hurt and everything hurts, and then all of a sudden he puts the ball in play and he gets down the line in a hurry.
Nice job there by both Laporta and Carrasco to retire Pierre. 2 down here in the 4th inning.
And you got to get over there in a hurry with a guy that can run like Pierre. Gets down the line. Carrasco just beelines to the bag. And you give it to him early, let him get his footwork together. He's looking for the ball, found it, barehanded it, and found the bag, and they do just get Pierre. Nice play by Carlos.
Gordon Beckham 2 for 2.
Starting to get that breaking ball over first pitch strike now to keep the hitters honest is what he's doing.
Beckham, couple of singles, couple of ribbies, and a run scored already today. Right back over the screen. Carlos Carrasco, just 24 years old. And early in spring training on March the 4th, he and his wife welcomed their first child into the world. Camila was born down in Florida. Swing and a miss. Carrasco cruises through the 4th. He's retired 7 Sox in a row. 5-3 in favor of Chicago as we go to the bottom of the fourth. Somebody's getting ready for a little foot-long hot dog here as we go to the bottom of the fourth inning. Jack Hanahan, Michael Brantley as Drupal Cabrera for the Tribe. Hanahan a 2-run single his first time up. Jack is now 4 for 6 to start the year. Swung out and missed. Evens up the count. Well, Jackson has been a little bit wild at times. And I mentioned how busy Brzezinski's been behind the plate. I mean, that ball looked like it hit in front of home plate.
Well, it did. And Brzezinski, when you don't have anybody on, you lay it. You don't have to put a body in front of it. I don't blame him. He's dodging out of the way. It's the umpire that's got to watch out. You get guys on base, and you got to really put a body on it.
Nice grab by Rios. Another ball that was smoked, but right at him. One down here in the fourth. Tomorrow night on STO, Bruce Drennan takes your calls and emails during All Bets Are Off, live at 7. Then golf pro Jimmy Hanlon gets you ready for the golf season during the Golf Zone at 9. All bets are off in the Golf Zone tomorrow night starting at 7 here on STO. Well, hopefully our buddy Jimmy Hanlon celebrated his birthday yesterday without incident. Although knowing Jimmy, that might have been easier said than done. Brantley with a ground ball to second. Backhanded nicely by Beckham. And 2 quick outs here in the fourth. That'll bring up his Drupal Cabrera, who is 0 for 2 today. Edwin Jackson grew up as what many people refer to as an Army brat. His dad, Edwin Sr., spent 23 years in the Army before retiring as a sergeant, first class. So Edwin Jr. spent his childhood moving around from Germany, where he was born, to Ohio briefly, Louisiana, back to Germany.
They transferred a lot.
Ultimately, I think he, quote-unquote, settled down in Fort Benning, Georgia. That's where he was first seen by scouts as a high schooler in Columbus, Georgia. In fact, he was a very good outfielder, and I think early in his pro career, they weren't sure if he was going to be a pitcher or an outfielder.
A la Chu?
Yeah, good point.
Well, they made the right decision here. I mean, he turned into a very good pitcher. And same with Shin-Soo Choo. Choo could throw 94, 95, but they made the right decision.
Struck him out looking. So Edwin Jackson retires the side in order for the first time today, and through 4 it remains 5-3 Chicago. 5-3 as we go to the fifth. Let's send it down once again to Katie Witham, who's found her favorite dog here in the park.
I have. You know what? I'm hanging out here with Zachary and his dad, William, and Zach's enjoying a Sugardale hot dog. How is it, Zach?
Good.
Good, very good. He had it. Dad was wiping his face off earlier, but we want to let you know the first $1 Sugardale hot dog night is Friday, April 15th. Make sure to log on to theindians.com to get your tickets and find out what other days you can check out the Dollar Dog Day. Guys?
All right, thanks, Katie.
Can't come to the ballpark without getting a hot dog, can you?
No.
I mean, that's baseball, apple pie, hot dogs. That's what it's all about.
You already had your first dog of the year.
I did today. Yes, I did.
Crushing it, yeah. Speaking of crush, Adam Dunn has hit a lot of balls hard already in this series. Home run yesterday, a double. Base hit in the first inning. Drove in a run with a ground out in his second at bat. Look at what Carlos Carrasco has done, though. After that first 2 innings, he's really settled in nicely. 3-1 to Adam Dunn. He's retired 7 in a row.
Well, I mean, he got pounded early, but his offense came back, and since that point, he's been able to settle in, get his off-speed pitches over for strikes early in the count. This is the only hitter he's been behind since that second inning.
A little bit outside, ball 4. Paul Konerko walked his last time up back in the second inning. Takes the first pitch strike. Talk about power in the middle of the lineup. Adam Dunn, Paul Konerko combined for 77 home runs last year.
Well, there's a guy on deck, too. You don't want to forget about him, who's a pretty good hitter when you're looking at that number 5 hole hitter.
Yep. Yeah, both Alex Rios and Carlos Quentin, who backs him up, they've all got juice.
I mean, you have to make your pitches. It's not an easy lineup to face anymore.
Tapped slowly, foul. Because of the financial commitment that the White Sox have made to an aging veteran like Konerko, to Adam Dunn, and what they already have invested in Rios, some media people have said the White Sox are like the old poker term, they're all in. Jerry Reinsdorf is all in right now.
They are, $135 million payroll.
Yeah.
I think that's 5th in all of baseball behind the Yankees, the Red Sox. I'm sure Philadelphia's up there. And I believe the Angels.
Swing and a miss. He struck him out. Second K for Carlos Carrasco. One down here in the 5th.
Well, he got ahead of Konerko and went right back with that slider. Down and away, good location. Got Konerko to swing and miss. That's what you want to do, expand that strike zone. The only way that happens when you get to those kind of hitters or when you're ahead in the count.
Alex Rios 0 for 6 in the series, but he's making me nervous.
Well, he hit a couple balls right on the nose today. The first one looked like it was going to be a home run. The wind knocked it down where it was caught in left field, and then a bullet. Hanahan made a beautiful diving catch. He had to end that second inning, or he would have given up more runs. And who knows if he ever would have got out of that inning.
Yeah. This is his 70th pitch of the day, and it's over the outside corner for a strike, and it's 0-2. Well, I think this tells you everything you need to know about Jimmy Hanlon's birthday celebration yesterday. He just sent me a message saying, "What time's the game today?"
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did.
Well, he just woke up. He thought it was a day game. It is a day game, Jimmy. It started a couple hours ago.
Now the 1-2. Fouled back over the screen.
What time's the game today?
Must have been a heck of a birthday.
Text him back and tell him 7 o'clock tonight so he comes out here. He won't know. It'll be too cold.
Man.
And we've got a 1 o'clock game to close it out tomorrow. Jimmy, Monday's off, and then it's 7-7-1. Just so you know. All right, make it noon.
The 1-2 pitch in the air. Shallow right. Coming hard is Chu. And he makes the running catch. Dunn scampers back to first, 2 down. Two away now for Carlos Quentin, who doubled and scored in the second inning. Grounded out to third his last time up. If you just joined us, the White Sox got 1 in the first on a sacrifice fly by Paul Konerko. They batted around in the second, scoring 4 times on 5 hits to grab a 5-0 lead, but the Indians came back with a 3 spot in the bottom of the second. Swing and a miss by Quentin. Travis Hafner with his first home run of the year. And then Jack Hanahan with a 2-run single. Now the pitchers seem to have both settled in.
Well, Carrasco certainly has. Been able to control his breaking ball.
His 75th pitch of the day is hit high
that's
in the
fine
air.
Today.
Left center. Brantley calling for it. Makes the grab. So the leadoff walk does no harm. And we'll head to the bottom of the 5th still. 5-3 Chicago. Home half of the 5th here at Progressive Field. Travis Hafner. He's due up third. Shin-Soo Choo leading it off, takes a strike. Santana in the on deck circle, excuse me. As the Tribe tries to get the offense rolling once again. They struck for 3 runs in the second. Choo with a high pop foul, and that'll find the seats. Series wraps up with a day game tomorrow, 1 o'clock here at Progressive Field. And then an off day Monday, and then the Boston Red Sox come to town Tuesday to wrap up our initial homestand of the year.
This is a Sox homestand, isn't it? A white and a red. This is the first time I think the Red Sox have been in this early in a long time.
Chu strikes out, and Edwin Jackson starting to find it here. That's 6 strikeouts now for the White Sox right-hander. Sports Time Ohio is your home for high school sports. Monday night at 7:30, STO brings you the Division I Wrestling Championships. The best wrestlers in Ohio compete for the state title. Then at 10, Chuck Galletti. We'll take your calls and emails. It all happens Monday on Sports Time Ohio. Santana with a line drive base hit into center field. His first hit today. That's the 4th hit for the Indians.
Well, this kid comes up and steps in that batter's box ready to hit. And he left the fastball upstairs, and Santana jumps all over it. Only the 4th hit for the Indians, the first for Santana. He's been on 2 out of his 3 times today. He walked his last at-bat to lead off the 3rd.
Well, here's Travis Hafner. Now, Hafner homered his first time up, and then it looked like he homered his next time up, but his bat split in half right down the middle, and the ball died just in front of the warning track in deep right field. And as Rick pointed out on the replay, it didn't look like he hit it off the end of the bat or anything unusual. The bat just exploded on him.
It looked like he hit it on a pretty good part of the barrel, to be honest with you. Hafner in his first 2 at-bats has hit the second pitch both times.
So get ready here.
Yeah. Strap it on. Let's see.
Up high with it, 2-0. Orlando Cabrera waiting on deck. That's high again, 3 balls and no strikes. Jackson walked a batter in the 1st, 2nd, and then 2 in the 3rd. But after he walked Orlando Cabrera in the 3rd inning, that's when he suddenly seemed to snap into it and retired 6 in a row.
It looks like he's just being a little more careful here to Hafner, a guy that, he homered in his first at-bat. And both times that Hafner hit pitches, they were inside part of the plate. So you see he's trying to stay away to the left hand. He's been pitching most of them inside today.
Cronk representing the tying run at the plate here. And the 3-1 is ripped to right field. Another base hit for Hafner. Santana turns at second, but he'll hold there. And Travis Hafner looking pretty good swinging the bat here in the early going.
There's a pitch inside. Hafner's looking in on him. To me, it looks like he's up there on the plate looking inside. And I'll tell you what, he's not missing anything he's swinging at on the inside part of the plate. And I think that's where Jackson is pitching those guys. He's made the adjustment. He's giving them everything away. He's looking middle in.
So back-to-back hits. And the Indians are threatening here in the 5th now for Orlando Cabrera, who singled and scored in the 2nd inning and then walked in the 3rd. Looks like we might start to get some activity in the White Sox bullpen. They're stirring down there.
88 pitches. You come out of spring training if you're a starting pitcher and you're going to about that 100 pitch mark. So, you're not going to go much more than that in your very first start.
Well, that's the one thing, though, that we know about Jackson. He's been a workhorse.
Oh, yeah.
Not afraid to go 100 or more.
He's capable of it, yes. But do you want to do it early in the year?
Orlando swinging a miss, 0-2.
But it was funny, in the 1st, 3rd, 4th inning, they didn't have a hit. The Indians were able to get the hits in the 2nd, and they've got 2 in this inning.
Struck him out on 3 pitches. So he starts the inning with a strikeout, gives up the back-to-back singles, comes back with another strikeout.
Isn't it funny? It seems like this guy gets in a little bit of a trouble, and all of a sudden he reaches back and he zones in. He throws strikes early in the count, gets ahead of hitters, and puts them away early. It's almost like he's wasting a lot of pitches at times. But, boy, when he needs to, he reaches back, he finds a strike zone.
Well, Travis Buck, 0 for 2. Reached on an error in the 2nd, struck out his last time up. Big chopper to first. Konerko backs up, takes it himself. So after 5, it remains 5-3 Chicago. Well, we want to invite you to check out the Subway Extreme Fan Zone located in Section 309 in the mezzanine here at Progressive Field. Pick up a Wahoo Bucks coupon at any local Subway restaurant for a $5 off Extreme Fan Zone seat. Subway, eat fresh. 75 pitches so far for Carlos Carrasco as he begins the 6th inning of work. He'll face the bottom third of the White Sox order, A.J. Pierzynski, Alexei Ramirez, and Brent Morel.
Well, Bobby D bringing in a former player that I played with back in the 70s.
Bouncing ball towards second. Orlando Cabrera will throw him out. Now, this is a minor league teammate that you had?
Yeah, right, from Reno, Nevada. Ron Sellier. His brother Kevin Sellier works over at Channel 8.
Oh,
this is Ron Sellier, left-handed pitcher. Back in the first 2 years I ever played in Reno, Nevada.
And where did Ron Salyer's career take him eventually?
He's down in Texas right now.
Did he get to the big leagues?
No, he did not get to the big leagues. He did not.
So you ruined another one.
Well, no, I was the kid. He was out cruising, man. I don't want to get started. Never mind. We got a ball game at hand. Don't get me going.
So you're saying he almost ruined you?
Yeah.
Alexei Ramirez drove in a run in the 2nd with a base hit, fly to center in the 3rd. And that breaking ball just missed. .50 out of the 78 pitches by Carlos Carrasco have been strikes today. Oh, man.
Pretty good pitch right there.
2-1 to count. Way outside, 3 balls and a strike. Fouled that off his leg. That'll send Ramirez limping.
Well, that's the same pitch that he took earlier in the count to get to a 2-1 count. But now when he was 3-1, he figured he was looking for a fastball in there, and he fouls it off his body. He took that pitch for a ball earlier in the count, and that goes above the shin guard. That's just below the knee. And that doesn't feel good. But when you're up in the box where he's at, and you've got a guy throwing 93, you've got to get that bat head started.
Fastball, hit right back to the mound. 2 down. Well, how do you like this, Rick? In Toronto today, the Blue Jays are beating the Twins by a score of 5-1. Now, Minnesota has scored a run, but Kyle Drabek, the whiz kid pitcher for Toronto, is throwing a no-hitter.
Oh, yeah? Huh. And there's no errors on there, so what, a walk?
I don't know. It's like maybe if I click into this, I can.
A couple of walks, maybe a stolen base somewhere, and a ground out is the only thing I could figure if there's no errors.
Could be, or a sac fly. Yeah, you're right. Let me see if it gives me the scoring summary. There, Murph tells us a walk, stolen base, and a couple of groundouts get the run home. 5 1/3 in the books, though, for Kyle Drabek. There's a drive to right. Chu kind of circled around it, plays it on a hop. So Brent Morel with a 2-out single here in the 6th, and that's the first hit Carrasco was allowed since the single to Gordon Beckham in the 2nd inning.
14 hitters came to the plate. 15 hitters. And then that base hit. Okay, 2-out single. Almost like Chu, you know, with that one ball that was hit by him and that ball blew past him in right field, that he was thinking that ball was going to carry to him, and it landed in front of him.
Strike to Juan Pierre, who is 1 for 3. Throw over, and it's a little bit off the mark as Morel went back in with a dive.
I don't think that Morel's a guy that you have to worry about over there at first base. Pay much attention to. Get this hitter out and get out of the inning.
Activity for the first time now in the Indians bullpen. Left-hander Rafael Perez starting to loosen. 86 pitches for Carlos Carrasco. Pitch out, nothing doing. There is Perez. He of the red glove. He's up there for Adam Dunn. There's a check swing. He went. 1-2 the count.
Yes, he did. Didn't want to. Tried to hold up, but you could see that barrelhead that did check out in front of the plate.
And the 1-2 pitch, runner goes. Pitch up high, throw down to second, and it goes into center field.
Well, after the pitch out and the 1-2 count, Ozzie says, all right, I'm going to start him. The throw by Carlos Santana was way offline and into center field, so Morel will get a stolen base. And not a bad pitch to throw on, but nowhere close.
So now a 2-2 count. And the 90th pitch of the day for Carrasco. And a ground ball single into right field. Chu's going to come up and fire towards home. And no, he won't. He won't get the throw off. But they've got Pierre caught between first and second in a rundown. And he'll be tagged out to end the inning. He ran out of the baseline, so that'll end it. But the White Sox pick up a big run. And they now lead it 6-3 as we head to the bottom of the 6th inning. (6-3) the score as Manny Acta talks with Carlos Carrasco. Indians down 3, bottom of the 6th inning. Matt Laporta, Jack Hanahan, Michael Brantley do up. Edwin Jackson already at 92 pitches. Misses up high for ball 1. By the way, Kyle Dravik's no-hit bid ended by Denard Span, who got a hit off of him in that 6th inning. Check swing bouncer back to the mound and an easy first out. Laporta 0 for 3. This recap brought to you by your Northern Ohio Toyota dealers. The White Sox got out to a fast start again. Gordon Beckham with a 2-run single. Made it 4-zip. They were down 5-0 when Travis Hafner launched his first home run of the year to make it 5-1. And then Jack Hanahan drove in a pair with his base hit down the left field line. And that made it 5-3. White Sox adding a run in the 6th. Find out about more than 30 Toyota offers available now at buyatoyota.com. 2 quick outs. Let's go back to the studios once again for an in-game update. Here's Al Pawlowski.
Matt, you were talking about this game in Toronto with the Minnesota Twins and Toronto Blue Jays. Travis Snider, a double here, puts Toronto ahead 5-1. And you're right, the only hit that Drapik has given up is a single in the 6th inning. He's only given up 1 run as well. He looks good, and the Blue Jays hope to be 2-0. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Al. Also in that game, former Indian Jason Nix has homered for Toronto. Michael Brantley, 0 for 2 with a walk, looks at a ball up high. Edwin Jackson deals and catches the outside corner. Activity in the White Sox bullpen as Edwin Jackson nears the end of the line. He's trying to make it a 1-2-3 6th inning. Big left-hander Chris Sale, who worked yesterday in the game, loosening. That's down low. One of the few positives that Manny Acta took away from yesterday's game is the fact that he made Ozzie Guillen have to go to that bullpen and use some of his best relievers. Big bouncer towards second. Beckham throws him out. Indians go in order. We go to the 7th, 6-3 Chicago. (6-3) Chicago as we go to the 7th inning. Chilly day here in downtown Cleveland, but all in all, not too bad. Here's our Miller Taste Greatness moment. And for that, we go back to last year. Carlos Carrasco against Kansas City, lighting them up. This was Carlos Carrasco's first major league win.
Yeah, against the Royals. Yeah, pitched well. And he settled down today. That last run he gave up in the 6th inning, 2 out, nobody on, with a base hit and then a stolen base after he had Pierre down in the count. He was able to get a base hit, but that was the 6th run he had. He struggled in the 2nd inning, but has settled down since that point. And you know, when you can take it into the, if he can give Manny the 6 innings, that's a sign of a young pitcher, you know, getting through a little trouble. I mean, that's all part of the process, how you learn as a young pitcher. If you can give up and be down 5-0 after 2 innings and you can get out of this game 6-3, it's not too shabby. He's going to have to learn to do that. But he has settled in, able to come back and get that breaking ball for strikes, and has been able to pitch ahead in the count for the most part. He's throwing at least 60% strikes, if not more than that today.
2-2 the count. 59 of his 94, 4 strikes. Back over the screen. Gordon Beckham, meanwhile, is just tearing it up here to start the year. 2 for 3 today.
He's been able to power that fastball by him upstairs at 93. Struck him out last time, and a couple times he's thrown it by him. See if he goes back to that high fastball. Breaking ball.
Popped him up. Santana, nice basket catch, sprinting down the line in foul ground.
Boy, I thought that was Beckham running that out. I wasn't looking, but out of the corner of my eye, I thought that Carlos Carrasco was going to take it, but it was Santana from behind the plate. Not an easy play for a catcher. He was halfway down the line. He jammed him. Beckham couldn't find it. Santana certainly did. Calls him off and makes a fine running catch. Not an easy play for a catcher like that.
Not at all. All right, so with bases empty and 1 out, Adam Dunn to the plate. Big shift on, 3 on the right side. Looks at a ball down low. Dunn singled in the first, drove in a run with a ground out in the second, walked in the fifth.
Okay.
And a fastball just misses. 2-0. Three balls, no strikes, and it just looks like they're working around him. They certainly did that in the fifth inning. Pitch number 100 for Carrasco. And Dunn swats it to right. Chu makes a head-high catch, 2 down. Once again, let's check in with Katie Witham down in the fan cave.
Hey, Matt, I'm over here hanging out in one of the most unique suites at Progressive Field, the Fan Cave. Now, check this out. It holds up to 20 guests. It will definitely impress your friends and family, but it is limited availability throughout the season, so you want to reserve it by calling 216-420-HITS. Guys, listen it back over to you.
All right, Katie's kicking it down there. A little pool action.
Well, that's a neat little suite. They moved it down the line a little bit, but you know it's got all the amenities in there. You want to play a little pool? That's not a bad day to stay in there today.
They opened it up, too. It used to be a little bit smaller, but by moving it down, they were able to open it up. 0-1 pitch in the dirt to Konerko. 2 down here in the 7th inning. Chad Durbin warming in the Indians' bullpen. But Carrasco trying to work his way through this 7th inning. Just over, excuse me. There's a liner toward left and a base hit. And a base hit for Konerko, so 2 down and a runner at first. That's going to do it, though, for Carrasco. Man, he was giving him one more chance to try to get through that inning. But after the hit by Konerko, he's in 103 pitches. Time to go to the bullpen. So a timeout here at Progressive Field. We got a pitching change. Tribe down 3. As much success as that bullpen had in the second half of last year, is still very young. And so I think the thinking for the Indians was by adding a veteran arm like Durbin, you've got somebody that can provide a little bit of stability for those young guys.
Well, there's no question. He comes in, they signed him late into spring training, didn't get there at the start of it. He was available, thinking he was going to stay in Philadelphia because he's been a big part of that bullpen for a while. He's been through it, and he can explain and help take pressure off of some of these young pitchers in the Indians bullpen. So his job right here, get through this inning, get the third out, take it in, and maybe go next inning against some right-handers. But when Durbin was coming back the last time, he was coming off arm problems. Carrasco battled, almost giving Manny 7 innings after down 5-0 in the first 2. He showed me something today, able to do that.
Alex Rios 0 for 3. Checks on a ball outside. 2-0 the count. Now Durbin has missed on his first 3 to Rios with the right-handed hitting Carlos Quentin on deck. And he missed on all 4. So with the walk, Canerco goes into scoring position. And Quentin will be the batter who doubled and scored in the second. Since then he has grounded to third and fly to center. Looking ahead to the bottom of the 7th inning, Indians will send Asdrubal Cabrera, Shin-Soo Choo, Carlos Santana to the plate. And I would imagine we'll see a new pitcher for the White Sox. Swung on and missed. Good off-speed pitch by Durbin. Had Quentin way out in front. White Sox 5 for 8 today with runners in scoring position. Already 14 for 23 in the series. They got out to a fast start today, leading at 5-0 after an inning and a half, but the Indians fought back to close the gap to 5-3 in the second inning. Check swing, did he go? He did. 1-2. White Sox picking up an insurance run in the 6th. Now looking for more here in the 7th. Durbin trying to close the door on a would-be rally here. And the 1-2 to Quentin. A little bit low. Ozzie Guillen's club with 10 hits on the day. They about hit the Indians 10-5.
Well, they get a head start now. He hasn't given in. Everything's been away to Quentin in this at-bat. See if he comes back with that 3-2 breaking ball and gets him to swing at it.
Runners move, payoff pitch, hit to the gap in right center. And that's going to get to the fence, and that's going to clear the bases. 2 runs will score into second base with a real big 2-out, 2-run double for the White Sox is Carlos Quentin. And it's now 8-3 Chicago.
So 7 of those runs will be charged to Carrasco because he came out after the base hit. This is a cutter. 3-2, not the breaking ball, little cutter. 87 miles an hour. It's off, a little fastball, but Quinton stayed on it. We saw in his first at-bat he went to right center with a double. He comes right back and a big 2-out double. So he walked Rios, gives up the double to Quinton. So no relief today by Chad Durbin.
A.J. Pierzynski 1 for 3. Lazy fly hit toward left. Buck makes the grab. The White Sox open it up, lead at 8-3, stretch time in Cleveland. Eight 8-3 in favor of Chicago as we go to the bottom of the 7th inning. For the second straight day, the Indians will have to try and play catch-up. Down 5 with 9 outs to go. Left-hander Chris Sale coming on for Chicago. Yesterday worked a third of an inning. A couple of hits. Did strike out a batter. He's a tall left-hander who can bring it.
Yeah, a number 1 draft pick last year by the White Sox. We told you yesterday, the 13th pick in the draft. That was all part of the signing procedure. As they told him, the quicker you sign, the quicker you're going to get to the big leagues. So the first guy from the 2010 draft to make it to the big leagues. And he had an impact in that bullpen late last year for him. Got a terrific arm. Was a starter coming out of college, but they wanted to use him, out of that bullpen to go with Matt Thornton, who's going to be the closer this year. Bobby Jenks, of course, he's gone, signed with the Red Sox. And it's going to be interesting to see, can they close games when it gets down to it?
Yeah.
I mean, although Thornton has closed games in the past, never really thrusted into that role as an everyday closer. So you'll see. You blow a save and see what happens after that point. Not to say they can't do it, because Matt Thornton, a good bullpen guy with a great arm, and this guy does too, but as we all know, closing is a mentality.
Up high. Well, we've heard people try and argue in the past that the 9th inning is no different than any other inning, statistically speaking. And that's just never really borne any truth. The 9th inning is different. Ramirez grabs the pop, 1 away. Back to the studios we go once again for an in-game update with Al Pulaski.
Matt, let's go to Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City. The Angels and Royals. The Royals are up in this game 2-1, and a former Royal, Alberto Callaspo, with the base hit for the Angels, puts L.A. up for good at the moment, 4-3, and they're also threatening the top of the 7th. They have the bases loaded with 1 out. Back to you, Matt.
Okay, Al Shin-Soo Choo with 1 out, bases empty, 0 for 2 with a walk stepping in. He's struck out twice today. Strike is called. 0-2 the count. And he struck him out. 2 quick outs here in the 7th inning. 8th strikeout for White Sox pitchers here today. Get the answer to our trivia question. Indians record for most career opening day home runs. Had some folks checking in with us on Facebook saying Andre Thornton, Thunder. But the correct answer is Corey Snyder. Did it in back-to-back years.
Only 3, but you know, hitting opening day home runs is not an easy thing to do.
Santana, big chopper to third. Morel throws him out, and the Indians go quietly. We go to the 8th. 8-3, White Sox. White Sox, 8th inning here at Progressive Field. And for Chicago, Alexei Ramirez, Brent Morel, Juan Pierre due up. Chad Durbin staying on here to work the 8th. And a slider misses down low. Chad Durbin was originally a 3rd-round pick of the Kansas City Royals in 1996, right out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana High School. Came to the Indians in 03. Indians put him on waivers in August of 04, and the Arizona Diamondbacks claimed him. Then he signed with the Washington Nationals, with the Detroit Tigers in 06. Foul third base side. And then in 07, right before the 08 season, he signed a 1-year deal with the Philadelphia Phillies. And boy, did that work out well for him. And for Philadelphia, for that matter. Down low. Worked in 71 games in 08 with Philadelphia. Pitched in 59 games in 09. Right field near the seats and out of play. Payoff pitch. picked nicely at third. Off balance throw on the money by Jack Hanahan. Terrific defensive play by the Indians' third baseman.
Well, he's been tested the first 2 days, and he's been up for the challenge. You come in, that's a nice short hop. But that's the reason why you break in on the ball. Anytime you get an opportunity, you're at third base, you come in, and that gave him an easier short hop than it is if you wait back on it in a tough in-between hop.
Ground ball to short. Big hopper for Asdrubal Cabrera. 2 down.
Well, the Indians will salute students all season long with half-price student ID nights beginning April 29th. End of the month, visit Indians.com for a full season schedule.
With 2 down, Juan Pierre looks at a ball outside. Pierre is 2 for 4 today. 2 singles, a ribby, and a run scored.
He came back in the 6th inning, got a big 2-out base hit to give him a 6-3 lead, increase it. Was thrown out in a rundown, but the run did score, and then the last couple innings they were able to get 2-out base hits to just add on to that lead and really take the momentum back.
Pop to left. In the gap, Brantley gives way, and it's Buck who makes the grab, the left fielder, to end the inning. 1, 2, 3 go the White Sox. We go to the bottom of the 8th. Tribe down 5. Eight 3 Chicago as we go to the bottom of the 8th inning. For the Tribe, Travis Hafner, Orlando Cabrera, and Travis Buck. Hafner off to a good start. He is 2 for 3 today. 4 for 8. 2 games into the season. Looks at a fastball that sails high. Hafner homered in the 2nd inning. And had a ringing solid single in the 5th inning. If not for the exploding bat, he might be 3 for 3 with a couple of homers today.
Well, he's been looked in and been able to hit every pitch that's been on the inside part of the plate. Jackson trying to pitch him inside. The home run was in, even though he hit it hard. Broke a bat. That one was inside as well as the base hit.
Checked. Did he go? He did. And so Hafner, a strikeout victim to start the 8th.
There's the side view of it. Oh, that was close. Awfully close.
We got a timeout here in Cleveland. Pitching change coming up. 8-3 White Sox. Back here in the 8th inning, the pitching change for Chicago. Chris Sale, an inning and a third of perfect relief with a couple of strikeouts. And now on is right-hander Sergio Santos. He'll be facing the right-handed hitting Orlando Cabrera.
High hopes for this young man in his rookie year. Had a very good year out of that Sox bullpen. Started his career with 12 straight scoreless innings last year from April to mid-May. That's a way to endear yourself to a manager.
In for a strike. Cabrera singled and came around to score back in the Indians' 3-run second inning. He walked in the third, and the Indians had 2 on with 1 out in that inning, but the rally fizzled. And then Cabrera had a chance to help the rally in the 5th inning with 2 on and 1 out, but he struck out. And the Indians have not threatened since. That was sort of the story of the day, though, for Edwin Jackson. As Cabrera strikes out again. Just when it seemed like Edwin Jackson was in trouble, he would do something to get himself out of it quickly. When he needed a big strikeout, he seemed to get it just when it looked like he was on the verge of maybe coming apart at the seams. But he never really did cave in, other than the 3 runs the Indians picked up in that second inning. And you could argue on his behalf that that was helped in part to the error, the double error by third baseman Brent Morrell.
Yeah, it sure was. Had a chance to get out of it, but Hanahan got a big 2-out base hit.
Buck looks at a ball up high. The announced crowd today here at Progressive Field, 9,853. That's the smallest gathering to ever see a game here at Progressive Field. sales high, 3-0. Same two teams tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Off day on Monday, and then the Red Sox come to town Tuesday night, Wednesday night, and Thursday at 12:05 game.
Have a chance to be a little chilly on those night games, doesn't it? Yeah, you're shaking your head. You're thinking about it, aren't you?
Yeah.
You're thinking about it.
That's all right. We're hardy Midwesterners. 3-1 pitch. Foul back.
So that means that you deal with it? Or?
That's right, yeah. It's April. It's Cleveland.
Last April was pretty warm, if I recall.
Remember we went to Minnesota last
70
year.
70 degrees.
Yeah.
Yes, I do. Very well.
Payoff pitch to Buck. Launched to right. Racing back as Quentin won't get it. And Buck's going to sprint into second base. Slides in with a 2-out double. And Travis Buck gets his first hit as a Cleveland Indian.
Boy, hit this ball right on the line. Second extra base hit. You had the Hafner home run starting off the second, and a 2-out double here by Travis Buck. Just the sixth hit for the Indians.
Now Matt Laporta 0 for 3. In tight. Laporta struck out on the second, flied to left in the third. Hit a little tapper back to the mound his last time up. High pop on the infield. Third baseman Brent Morrell on the grass. Hitting over. We've played 8 at Progressive Field. It's 8-3 Chicago. Ninth inning here at Progressive Field. Left-hander Rafael Perez coming on to work for the Indians. Perez wound up with a 6-1 record and a 3.25 ERA last year. Really turned his season around in the second half.
Well, his first 2 months were about as bad as you can get. And you're right. He has something caught on. His slider came back. He was throwing strikes, and that's the key for Rafael.
Through the end of May, his ERA was 7.20.
Yeah.
From June 1st to the end of the season, it was 1.97.
Well, I remember we were looking, thinking, oh, how much longer can you look at it?
Yeah.
You know, it came to a point where you're thinking, oh, my goodness, they are in trouble. But I'll tell you, the patience paid off last year, and you hope he gets off to a good start this year.
Up high, ball one to Beckham.
And as we mentioned, the key is strikes. That slider's a very good pitch for him. He can get both righties and lefties out with it.
Pitch is down low, 2 balls and no strikes. Three balls, no strikes. Adam Dunn next, and then Paul Konerko. 8-3 Chicago here in the 9th. There's a strike. Beckham shoots it back in the count. Goes full at 3-2. Justin Masterson gets the call for the Indians tomorrow in the series finale here at Progressive Field, and John Danks, left-hander, will go for Chicago. Again, it's a 1 o'clock start. We'll have it for you on Sports Time Ohio. Payoff pitch, and he walked him on the 3-2. Leadoff man aboard for Adam Dunn. After the game yesterday, we kicked off the 11th season of the Conrad's Tire Express and Total Car Care postgame show. Conrad's is celebrating the start of the season with their first ever Tire Wars event with incredible buys on tires. It's a very special event that ends today. Thanks again to Conrad's for being part of Indians baseball for the past 10 years. Perez finds the strike zone. Adam Dunn singled in the first, drove in a run with a ground out in the second, and he walked in the 5th, and he hit a bullet to right field that Chu caught in the 7th inning. Dunn looks at a ball in the dirt. 2-1. Indians with that shift on, 3 on the right side. He's got that big uppercut swing, though, so you don't expect to see many ground balls off his bat.
No, I mean, he gets into that when he gets hot. He's gonna hit them in bunches, and there's gonna be times, like you said in spring training, where you make your pitches. He's gonna strike out a lot. But boy, over the course of the long haul, he's gonna be very productive. But driving him in and hitting, you know, he's gonna hit 30, and he should drive in 100. Hitting in this lineup, it may even be better than that.
The 2-2. Missed inside, full count. I still remember that game in Cincinnati a few years ago when he hit a game-winning home run off Bob Wickman.
Grand slam.
That ball was never more than 8.5 feet off the ground the whole way.
I think that was a grand slam to win the game.
Payoff pitch. It's ball 4. So Perez has walked the first 2, both on 3-2 pitches. He's made 12 pitches already to the first 2 hitters, and now Paul Konerko to the plate. Going to get a pinch runner for Adam Dunn. Looks like Brent Lillibridge will come on and run for the big guy. Paul Konerko drove in a run in the first with a sac fly, walked in the second, struck out in the fifth, singled and scored in the seventh inning. Toronto held on to beat Minnesota 6-1 the final score.
Only the one hit, too, by Minnesota.
Denard Span had the only hit, and that was in the sixth inning. Rafael Perez ready with the 0-1. And a one-hop smash to short. Cabrera to Cabrera. On to Laporta. Double play. Over to third goes Gordon Beckham. And with two down, Alex Rios will be the batter. That's about as tailor-made as they come. Rios 0 for 7 in the series. He walked and scored his last time up. Good block by Santana on the ball in the dirt. A lot of baseball at least scheduled for tonight. We'll see around the country if the weather cooperates everywhere. A lot of those games are out west or in domes. Tampa Bay at home against Baltimore later. Texas hosting the Red Sox. Oakland home against Seattle. Swing and a miss. 1-2 the count. Angels lead the Royals 4-3. Kansas City batting bottom of the 8th at Kauffman Stadium. Pirates lead Chicago 3-2. Cubs batting last of the 8th at Wrigley. Rain delay in Washington where the Nationals lead Atlanta 4-1. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. And the inning is over. So after 2 walks, the double play ball and a K gets Perez out. Bottom of the 9th coming up next. White Sox on top. The Indians coming to bat here in the bottom of the 9th inning. Sergio Santos, who got the last 2 outs in the 8th, will stay on here in the ninth. It'll be Jack Hanahan, Michael Brantley as Drupal Cabrera due up for the Tribe. Santos deals, and it's down low for ball one. White Sox trying to notch their 6th straight road win against the Indians. It's their longest road win streak currently against any American League opponent. And the 1-1. Hanahan with a big chopper to short. Ramirez guns him out. 1 down. Michael Brantley 0 for 3 will be the hitter now. Brantley 2 for 8 now in the series. Good news as far as Grady Sizemore's rehab is concerned. Sizemore still in Arizona. And yesterday, he played center field and went 1 for 4 in a spring training game for Kinston. And the program is that he'll play every other day over the next several days.
Yeah, it's just a matter of getting out there and getting reps and coming back, because he hasn't played a whole lot in the last 2 years, and strengthening everything up and seeing how he responds.
Eventually they'll move the rehab to Ohio, probably for either Akron or Lake County. And
well, it's got to be much better for him out there in the warm weather right now.
You would think so. Now the 1-1. A little bit high. 2 balls and a strike. Out of play to the left. 8 runs and 11 hits for Chicago. 3 runs, 6 hits for the Indians. Now the 2-2. Up the middle. Diving stop by Ramirez. Gets up, throws, and Konerko couldn't dig it out. Nice effort by Alexi Ramirez. He made a heck of a stop. And then to get up and throw. Almost got him at first, but Konerko couldn't come up with it. I think if he had, he would have been out.
Yeah, that was good effort. And if you can pick it on the back end, you need a little help there from your first baseman. It's a tough throw, because as a shortstop, you got to get up in a hurry, get rid of it in a hurry. Brantley can get down the line. Konerko couldn't hold on. Goes a base hit.
Seventh hit for the Indians as Drupal Cabrera 0 for 4. Up high, 2 balls, no strikes. Cabrera, then Chu here, scheduled in the bottom of the ninth. Indians down 5, needing base runners. That's high, 3-0. White Sox bullpen looks like it's about to get busy. They will get their closer, Matt Thornton, up. There's a strike, 3-1. And again, so often with a bullpen, you're between too much work and not enough work.
Well, coming out of spring training, you always want to get your guys in there as soon as possible.
Yeah. And he might be getting Matt Thornton into this game sooner rather than later. With 2 on now and 1 out, Shin-Soo Choo, the batter, 0 for 3. He has struck out 3 times today. He walked way back in the first. Just 1 for 8 now to start the year for Choo. Boy, a big blast here could certainly make this interesting in the 9th. Choo fouled that off his leg.
Boy, for Choo this afternoon, the last 11 pitches to him, 10 have been strikes. Well, they have been pounding the strike zone against Shin-Soo Choo.
The 0-1. And it's now 0-2 on Shin-Soo Choo. Brantley the runner at second, Cabrera at first. Santos fires in there, strike 3 called, 4 Ks for Choo here today. And 2 down in the bottom of the 9th.
He's going to come in with that backdoor slider right on the outside edge. Terrific pitch right on the corner. Caught Choo looking. Down to their final out now.
Carlos Santana is the batter, 1 for 3 on the day with a walk. And there's that big breaking ball in for a strike. Kansas City has come back to take a 5-4 lead against the Angels in the bottom of the 8th in Kansas City. Bouncing ball, first base side, just foul. And the count now 0-2 on Santana. Cubs have come back. They lead Pittsburgh now 5-3 in the bottom of the 8th at Wrigley. Tables being turned in a couple of games. They're back to action in Washington, where the Nationals lead Atlanta 4-1. They're in the 4th inning after a lengthy rain delay. Two-strike pitch to Santana. And a ground ball routine for the second baseman, Beckham. And the White Sox are 2-0 to start the year. The Indians have dropped to 0-2. Final score today, it's the White Sox 8 and the Indians 3. No runs, a hit, 2 men left aboard here in the bottom of the 9th inning for the Tribe. So Edwin Jackson went 6 innings. He was shaky at times, but he hung in there to get the win. And he's now 1-0 on the year. Carlos Carrasco, he struggled early, and the Indians bullpen unable to help him out later. And he drops to 0-1 now on the season. Time now for our play of the game, brought to you by KeyBank. Thanks for making KeyBank the #1 bank in Northeast Ohio.
Yeah, with 2 outs, they come back up for the second straight inning and able to put a couple of runs on the board here. Carlos Quentin having a terrific series in his first 2 games. Second double of the game. That really just opened it up right there, gave him their 7th and 8th run, and you can see big hit for Carlos Quentin, and that pretty much put it on. That's going to be our KeyBank key play of the game.
So the Indians fall to 0-2. They're going to have to rebound in a hurry. 1 o'clock game tomorrow to wrap up this 3-game series against the Chicago White Sox. Stay with us. The Conrad's Tire Express and Total Car Care postgame show is straight ahead.